The Florida Gators recruiting stock is exploding. Today on the All Kinds of Weather forecast, we are back with a lot of recruiting news. Jeran McCoy, Marquez Daniel, Geneva, Carr, Justin Williams, and a whole lot more. What did Florida just do on the recruiting trail? We're going to get into all of that. Today on the All Kinds of Weather forecast, we are back. It has been a minute. It has been about a little more than 2 months since the Gator basketball team won their third national championship. That was the last show we did. We get a couple of pop-up interviews with some Gator baseball players. Want to shout them out for their time. Ty Evans, Bobby Bozer, Pierce Capola. Want to plenty more. Coach Chuck Gerholman. Thank you to you as well, Blake Sear. Thank you to all of those guys who gave me the time to talk Gators with them. We are back with an official show in studio today. I am your host, Neil Schulman. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at All Kinds Weather. Before we go any further, please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Please like, subscribe, again, comment, tell your friends. Give us a 5-star rating and a nice review on Apple Podcasts. All that great stuff helps us bring you more great Gators content. Got to shout out our sponsor. The All Kinds of Weather forecast is proudly sponsored by 401k Generation, the wealth management company that helps you invest today for your future tomorrow. Their team of advisors is committed to providing guidance and education for your 401k plan and its participants. And they also offer a range of enrollment solutions tailored to meet the unique needs of your company's 401k plan. Whether it is savings for your child's college, investment advice, or even your retirement, 401k Generation's team of advisors makes getting to know you their top priority. Their advisors will tailor a path to assist you in navigating life's financial milestones and reaching your financial goals. That is 401k Generation, building stronger futures, one generation at a time. For more information, please contact them, 866-998-5879, or visit their website at 401kgeneration.com. It is so great to be back. It is so great to be back on the All Kinds of Weather forecasts. Long story short, I'm just increasingly busy at my full-time job that pays the bills, so I have to devote all my time to that. I mean, climbing the ladder in the business world just means I have that much less time here, and part of it is to ensure that I'll have more time during the season to really dive into Gator football. But yeah, I mean, Chris kind of has the same issue. Chris Yanes, our co-host, is on an indefinite leave from the show, and it's for the same reason. On top of his work schedule, he also has the added time devotion required of being an expectant father. So congrats to him on that. But that's where we've been. We're still active on social because that takes a lot less time. So follow those down below. Podcasts and shows just take a lot more time to do and do really well, because I don't feel like it does anybody any good if I just come on here and not do my research and not prepare to know what I'm talking about. So that's why the lack of them. But anyway, today is a federal holiday. Happy Juneteenth, y'all. What a time for that paid day off of work to come. It's right in the middle of Billy Napier and the Gators being on a heater on the recruiting trail. So let's dive right into that. Back in May, if you remember, if you're active on social, it's hard for you not to remember, Florida's class ranked 83rd in the country on the 247 Sports composite rankings. Then on May 18th, they landed a 3-star defensive lineman named Jameer Perez. Helped a little bit. It gave Will Griffin, the quarterback who's been committed since last June, a little bit of company in that class of 26, but it seemed like an isolated thing. Florida's momentum that they seem to have built with that first new commitment kind of cooled off. And then the calendar flipped from May to June in 2025. And since then, they have landed in no order. We'll get to the chronological order in a second, but just for now, they landed Jeran McCoy, who's a borderline 5-star, but a 4-star defensive lineman, 4-star receiver Marquez Daniel, 4-star running back Carson Baker, 4-star cornerback CJ Bronau, which is a direct head-to-head win over FSU, 4-star receiver Justin Williams, 4-star safety Kaden Hall, 3-star tight end Kikua Amua from IMG, broke that curse with some authority, 3-star offensive lineman Jeran Lucas, 3-star offensive tackle Chancellor Campbell, 3-star offensive lineman on the interior Geneva Carr. That's 10. I'm out of fingers here, so I'll have to go to the next one. 3-star offensive tackle Tyler Chukayam. A treasure trove of commits have cascaded down on the Florida Gators football program over the last less than 3 weeks. And now Florida's class is ranked number 13. That is a rise of 70 spots in the recruiting rankings. So all those jokes about Sunbelt Billy's recruiting, nobody wants to play for DeBilly. Yeah, good. And hope you enjoyed that. Because Florida's class is now on fire. And yet, it is only about halfway done. So with that said, let's get caught up. Let's run through that list of commits and catch ourselves up on this 2026 recruiting class. Starting with Geneva Carr. We'll go in chronological order. Geneva Carr committed on June the 1st. And fun fact, that is actually 1 year to the day since quarterback Will Griffin committed as the first member of the 26 class. Anyway, Geneva Carr, IMG kid, interior offensive lineman, that's either a center or a guard. And don't be fooled by the 3-star ranking. Let's look at the offer list. That's going to be a theme for this show. And for those of you who are new, it's a theme whenever we talk about a commit that the Florida Gators get. So the offer list: Georgia, Alabama, FSU, Colorado, Auburn, Tennessee, Miami. There's a trend developing here. Michigan, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Southern California, Ole Miss, Washington, Mississippi State, UCLA, Kentucky. So let's talk about what I call the rule of all offers. It's pretty much what it sounds like it means. Basically, if a kid has 1 or 2 offers from big time programs, like let's say a kid's offered by Georgia and Oklahoma, but then his next most impressive offer is Louisville, and those are the only Power 5 offers he has. Look at those 3 offers, and then you see a bunch of G5 offers. It's probably just, all right, the kid's a project. So those are possibly what we call non-committable offers, or sometimes it's part of a package deal where a school only offers one kid to get another kid that they really want. Or maybe it's just this kid or this one school believes in this kid, that they believe that they found a diamond in the rough. They believe they can wring more production out of him than anyone else can, so that's why they're willing to offer him. Or maybe they just see something that they don't think anyone else sees. But if you have a couple of these anomalously prestigious offers on a kid's offer list by themselves, it's probably one of those things. And the rating and the ranking for him is probably ballpark correct. However, if you have a Georgia, an Alabama, an Oklahoma, a Michigan, a Texas, a Tennessee, a Florida, Auburn, Washington, FSU, Miami, all those together, it probably indicates that the recruiting people missed on their analysis of him. They probably undervalued him. Their recruiting rankings misjudged him, at least to some degree, because logic says, all right, all those prestigious programs can't all misjudge kids on their evals, right? So it kind of feels like Geneva Carr's offer list is the latter situation, because you don't get offers from Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee and Miami and Oklahoma and Michigan and USC and Auburn and Ole Miss, et cetera, et cetera. You don't get all those offers by mistake. There's clearly a common trait or a common thing that all these top schools and their highly paid scouts are seeing that the recruiting people do not, that the scouts do not see, whether that's potential or they're just better evaluators of talent. That's, I'm not gonna prognosticate on that, but it's one of those. And frankly, Geneva Carr looks like he is a 4 or 5-star player on tape. Obviously, everyone does, but Carr looks pretty powerful when you watch his huddle tape. He's able to really assert his dominance in the middle of the trenches. The hands look pretty good when he's placing them. The development of Florida's offensive line over the last 3 years, I would say, has been overall mixed. Definitely some reason for disbelief and some frustration in the first couple of years. I will also say that Rob Sale's stock is definitely trending in the right direction in terms of development with what we've seen from Jake Slaughter and Austin Barber. Although I do have to, for intellectual honesty purposes, point out that those were both John Hevesy guys. Hevesy is, we'll just say Hevesy is his own story. But in any case, Rob Sale over the past couple of years has definitely been warming with the fan base in terms of our belief, our collective belief in his ability to get some productivity out of his offensive lineman. So the thinking is Carr comes in, he gets developed. Three-star ranking looks pretty stupid in 2 or 3 years from now when he's playing on Saturdays at a high level. So that's Geneva Carr. Anyway, next commit was Kaden Hall, who's a safety from Milton, a 4-star on 3, 3-star on 247. Composite rankings do call him a 4-star. We'll call him a 4-star for our purposes. Offer list looks good. Georgia, Alabama, FSU, Tennessee, Michigan, Clemson, LSU, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Penn State, Ole Miss. Rule of all offers. Yeah, that tracks. That washes. Tape is pretty good. Looks like he takes some pretty good angles. He does come up and deliver hits with some physicality. He's pretty good in zone coverage. The scouts who are paid to watch him on more than just his good plays, like the ones who sit there and watch a whole game, do warn he has to improve a little bit in man coverage. Also, he has some injury issues that he has to stay away from. And he could definitely add 10 to 15 pounds of muscle, so he probably won't play as a freshman. But in 27 and 28, those years are looking pretty promising for Kaden Hall. Potential's definitely high here. So a great eval, great pickup by Vinny Sanseri. Got him on campus the last weekend of May, got him to pull the trigger and commit 4 days later. He shut down the rest of his visits. That's a nice head-to-head win over FSU and Alabama and Oklahoma. Next came Chancellor Campbell on June 8th. He's a 3-star offensive tackle from Lakewood in the general Tampa St. Pete vicinity. Another rule of all offers one. Composite 3-star on 247 Sports, but look at the offer list. Ohio State, Texas A&M, Georgia, Penn State, Colorado, Miami, FSU. So not quite as eye-popping as Geneva Carr's. There are enough elite programs to offer him that I feel pretty confident in saying that this is not a mistake. And the tape backs it up. He is a powerful kid. Standing 6'8" and 295. He hits a lot harder than that. He delivers punishment with his hands at the point of attack. The initial punch that he can deliver is pretty massive. And again, probably another multi-year project who's going to have to take some lumps early on. He's not quite there from a technique standpoint. Also, just from a pure muscle standpoint, he could probably tack on a little bit more in terms of getting to where he needs to be in the Southeastern Conference. But the potential is pretty high. A few minutes after Chancellor Campbell, Florida gets another commitment from a 4-star in receiver/running back Justin Williams. This is one where I will say the opposite of the last couple of guys with their offer list. In terms of the offer list looks like a 3-star offer list. Now there's a qualifying factor to that we'll get to in a second, but just strictly talking offer list. FSU offered, they wanted him. That's a nice head-to-head win over FSU. Also has offers from Ole Miss, Wisconsin, Utah, North Carolina, Louisville, Kentucky, Indiana, Iowa, and Cincinnati. So a lot of those Midwestern, decent, but not elite offers in there. So if you're just looking at the offer list, this is one where he looks like he's rated a little bit high. But then you go to the fact that both On3 and 247 Sports have him as a 4-star, and you go, all right, I'm intrigued. Let's check the guy's tape and let's just see what we see. And the tape jumps off the screen. He's a wide receiver in high school. Oh, he was a wide receiver. He's kind of a Percy Harvin, Kadarius Toney sort of position. Not that I'm ever going to say he's going to be the next Percy Harvin or the next Kadarius Toney, but in terms of he plays both receiver and running back, his position at Florida kind of feels like it's going to be one of those. So again, those guys are unicorns. I will never say this guy is going to be the next Harvin or the next Toney. That's unfair to all of them to compare them like that. But he's reminiscent of those guys in the sense that he can play both receiver and running back and play them well. You know what? Better comparison is probably Brandon Powell. Brandon Powell is probably the better comparison because I feel like that's a pretty safe floor and ceiling to compare him to. He's technically categorized with that ATH label as an athlete, but he's a very high ceiling running back who could potentially play early and fill a variety of roles. If nothing else, you can have him just line up in the backfield and catch some passes on wheel routes. Kirby Smart still has nightmares about that. When not too many things bother him these days, but that one still does. But anyway, think Brandon Powell on the wheel route as his floor. And this is a Gainesville kid. This is a Buchholz high school kid. So nice job to beat out the Seminoles to get Williams and keep him home. The very next day, on June 9th, comes Kikua Amua, who is originally from the islands of Hawaii. I actually just met someone at a networking event who I was talking to this kid about. I was talking about this kid with, and he corrected me. He goes, "It's Hawaii." I go, "Okay, fine. I will shout him out here and I will say Hawaii, from the islands of Hawaii. Now going to play in the state of Florida for IMG, the second IMG commit in this class. Man, thank God we broke that curse, by the way. Remember, Florida couldn't get an IMG kid if their lives depended on it. And then we got, I think it was Kamar Wilcoxon, and everyone is jumping for joy. Yeah, now Florida just got two IMG kids in the span of a week, nine days. So, yeah, by the way, it took a certain someone leaving. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean, for that to happen. And it's not Dan Mullen. It's not, there's nothing to do with Dan Mullen. A certain staffer had to leave for that door to be reopened. Anyway, Amua, nickname is Rhino, which tells you a lot because there definitely seems to be a disconnect between his offer list and what I see on tape. The offer list is solid. It's got Washington, Auburn, FSU, North Carolina, Oklahoma State, Brigham Young, Arizona State. Arizona State's a playoff team last year. Washington, granted, entirely new staff, but CFP team 2 years ago, national finalist. At North Carolina with Bill Belichick, they're going out and doing things. Auburn's an SEC school, not bad, but not an eye-popping offer list. But the tape looks very different. He is very physical. He loves getting dirty. He just loves burying his defender when he's a blocker in the run game. Pretty natural as a pass catcher, too. Don't really see a whole lot of pass pro stuff on his tape. There are a couple plays. You can't really tell too much about him, though. He can move very well. The hands look really strong. Like he can go up and get the ball in traffic. Definitely looks more like a 4-star than a 3-star from his tape. So I'm kind of sitting here wondering, like, what is the deal here? Which piece of data am I supposed to believe? Because it is a good tight end class overall. He is the 34 ranked tight end on the 247 Sports composite rankings. And look, as someone who through the years has been very critical of Billy Napier and his staff for a variety of different things, this is one where I agree with him. And I disagree with everyone else in their evaluations of him. Because from what I see on tape, he looks like he's a pretty damn good player. And not just in the sense that anyone can because they put their best plays on tape. He looks like he has speed and aggression that he can translate to the next level. But of course, we'll have to wait and see. The SEC is obviously very different from even the best of high school ball. So IMG to the SEC, of course, there's going to be a transition period. We're going to have to see how he handles it, but I'm feeling good about this one. Fast forward 4 days later to June the 13th, and Florida gets a commitment from running back Carson Baker, potentially the crown jewel of the entire class. Some people think he is. A 4-star on 3. He's a 3-star on 247. Okay, there's some disagreement there. So let's just check the offer list. And oh my God, that's a 5-star offer list. Oh, that's my initial reaction. Oh my God, how is he not a 5-star? Clemson, Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, defending national champion. Alabama, the dominant superpower in the sport over the last 15 years. Michigan, the national champ from last year, from 2 years ago. Penn State, a national finalist. Texas A&M, which spares no expense when recruiting. USC, another historical blue blood. Miami, Tennessee, we'll just rattle them off because there's so many of them. Washington, North Carolina, South Carolina, NC State, Auburn, Ole Miss, Colorado, Indiana, Wisconsin. Like, that's a 5-star offer list right there. When you have all the semifinalists from the last couple of years, actually no Notre Dame, but you have 3 of the 4 national semifinalists last year offering him, plus Georgia, plus Clemson, plus Miami. That's a 5-star offer list. And I'm not going to do the thing here where I see a kid commit to Florida and I just call him a 5-star because I want to make myself feel good. There are other Gator people who do that, and it's not a knock on them. I have respect for other Gator podcasters. That's just not me. Keep it respectful, but keep it real here. I'm not going to inflate a kid just because I feel like it. Um, but this is the offer list of a 5-star prospect. He's a very gifted runner, is Carson Baker. Both the speed and the strength to make it at the SEC level, and he's a track guy. But he's not a track guy who plays football. He's a football player who also runs track. That's a big distinction. And it's a lot better to be the football player who also is good enough to run track and fast enough to run track. So he needs to put on a little bit of muscle. He does that, he's going to be a difference maker at the next level. 247 having him as a 3-star is a head scratcher. I truly don't understand that. At the very least, I would say that offer list makes him look like a 4-star. There's an argument to make him a 5-star in some rankings. That's a big time head to head win for Florida over rivals Georgia and FSU. Also, Clemson and Auburn were both after him hard as well. Florida's Jabbar Jalouk won the Carson Baker sweepstakes over all of them. Very nicely done here. This could be another big time player for Florida when he makes it to campus. The very next day, June 14th, Marquez Daniel commits to Florida. That's a Booker T. Washington pass catcher who picks Florida over Auburn, Tennessee, and Arkansas. So, kind of a road victory over Auburn. Originally, the kid's from Tuskegee, Alabama. That is War Eagles' backyard. And Tuskegee's probably 20, 30 minutes from Auburn's campus. And Florida comes and takes him away. And a solid overall offer list. You got Texas, Georgia, FSU, Miami, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Wisconsin, LSU, North Carolina. A lot of nice offers there. Not quite the 5-star offer list, but a solid 4-star offer list. And you look at the tape, you see a couple of plays right away that catch your eyes. First, there's the ability to go up and make the physical catch. Like in Madden or in EA college football, you hit the aggressive catch button. And you see the way he plays basketball because you see the way he boxes out defenders. You see that he is an aggressive rebounder in the game of basketball because you see he can go and beat defenders for the ball at its highest point. He just high points the ball better than anyone else trying to high point the football when it is at its highest point and they're all getting ready to jump up for it. Good feet, the solid route running. There's definitely some elusiveness there. He can pick up some yards after catch. Some yak because he's pretty solid as a runner too. So definitely a bona fide weapon to add to DJ Lagway's arsenal when he makes it to campus. Minutes later, Florida gets defensive end Jeran McCoy. ESPN has him rated as a 5-star. ESPN's believability in recruiting has taken a hit over the last decade or so, but they have him rated as a 5-star. Make of that what you will. 247 Sports, on the other hand, has him as a 3-star. So, all right, there's a big disagreement there. Let's see the offer list. Let's see which one of those recruiting services looks more correct by checking out the offer list. We got USC, we got Alabama, we got Oregon, we got Michigan, we got Penn State, we got Tennessee. Not looking good for you, 247. That's not looking like one of your better evals. We got Texas, we got LSU, we got Oklahoma, we got Texas A&M. Okay, 247. Yeah, you really messed this one up. Also, Arkansas, Indiana, Utah, Auburn. Yeah, that's a bad missed eval by 247 Sports to have him as a 3-star with that kind of an offer list. Oh, and by the way, he's already been named an Under Armour All-American. So, yeah, not one of 247 Sports' better pieces of work. Or maybe they're right, and maybe all those schools are wrong. But I think we can agree that one of those is considerably more likely to be reality than the other. Anyway, 6'6", 245 is Jeran McCoy, a Mississippi kid that definitely seemed to be favoring Ole Miss for a while, but Florida came and took him away. Lane Kiffin whiff. Hashtag abandon sip. Get that trending on Twitter. That'll sit real well with him. He's Kiffin's a funny guy. He's a good Twitter troll. Not much will actually get under his skin, but that will. I have that on good authority. So go ahead and use that. Hashtag abandoned sip. Brutal loss for Lane Kiffin because the kid is from Tupelo, which is right outside his backyard in Oxford, and he comes to Florida. So that's a big yikes for Ole Miss, and that is a big pat on the back for Gerald Chapman and the Florida Gator recruiting staff. I will say Jeran McCoy is not totally there yet. Probably needs a little bit of development at the next level, but there is an enormous payoff because when he gets his technique right, and there are some plays on his highlight tape where he does, when he gets that technique right, he can do some pretty incredible things jumping off the ball and just making a major difference at the point of attack. So he gets 15, 20 pounds more muscle. He gets that technique a little bit more honed in. The hands can be consistently placed in the right spots a little bit more. He will be a dependable piece on the defensive front for the Gators within a year. 2 days later is June 16th, and we get two more commits, both of which are offensive tackles. Tyler Chikayam and Javari Lucas. And whereas I've been praising Napier in Florida for most of these commits, these guys do kind of fit the profile of 3 stars. That's just that's the motto of our show. Keep it respectful, but keep it real. That's not to say these guys cannot pan out. I am not saying they cannot be dependable pieces for the Gators in time. I am simply saying that looking at the sum of the data, I do see why they're 3 stars. They can one day outplay those rankings. Kyle Trask did. Kadarius Toney did. He was a 3 star. David Reese did, a solid college player for Florida. So, Jermaine Cunningham was another 3 star. It doesn't mean everything, but at this point in time, the data that's been collected does seem to agree with their 3 star rankings. Chikayam does have some decent offers. He's got offers from FSU, Ole Miss, Cincinnati, and then it kind of peters out. You got NC State, you got Georgia Tech and Minnesota. Nothing that really blows you away when you see the logos. In fact, just 7 total Power 5 offers and no real elite programs to offer other than maybe Florida and FSU. And you got to go back a decade plus to talk about when the Gators and Knowles were really elite. I'm not going to include the 13-1 season FSU had because that was one player carrying them through the ACC. So historically, Florida and FSU, yeah, they're 2 elite programs. They're trying to get back there. Neither of them have shown eliteness in the last 3, 4, 5 seasons or so. So that's what the offer list is, and none better. And Javari Lucas, similar story. He has offers from Penn State and Miami. That's good. Also West Virginia and Florida, and that's it. 4 total Power 5 offers, which again goes back to the rule of all offers. You have 3 respectable programs. You have Florida, Miami, and Penn State. You have 4 total P5 offers, and the rest of the offers are from G5 schools. So, it is what it is. They do put some nice stuff on tape, but then again, so does everyone else. So, again, these guys could become success stories, and I love a good underdog turned hero story. For example, Cormani McClain, not that he was an underdog in terms of his high school recruiting ranking, but he's been through the ringer a bit. I'd love to see him succeed. And I'd love to see a 3 star athlete turn into a successful player at the Florida Gators slash SEC slash major college football level. I'm just saying that I can't, in good conscience, tout these two with the same energy as the others. Right now, with the data we have, keep it respectful, but keep it real. I don't want to get the parents or the siblings or the coaches of any of these kids on my tail. I'm saying very clearly that there have been undervalued and lightly recruited guys who starred for Florida before. I'm just saying that these kids, from what we see on their recruiting profiles and even in their tape, the kids are not of the upper echelon of recruits as far as the recruiting stock goes. So hopefully I'm proven wrong. These are offensive tackles. That's always a position of need at any level. Argue that that's the second most important position in all of football after quarterback. So hopefully they outplay their rankings, but their rankings are not of the caliber that can objectively get me jumping for joy. So that's them. Hopefully they outplay that. But back to the types of recruits that do get Gator fans objectively jumping for joy. On June 18th, cornerback CJ Bronau. Last and most, probably. Maybe you can say Jeran McCoy or Carson Baker, but this is one of the crown jewels of the class. Formerly committed to Nebraska, he turned them down and reset his recruiting to make a decision between Florida and FSU. He chose Florida. Big time get for the Gators over FSU. Also offered by Michigan, Miami, Oklahoma, Penn State, Oregon, Tennessee, A&M, Wisconsin, and LSU. Pretty good offer list. And from watching the tape, you can see why all these other schools offered him. I will say that the scouts do warn that he has not faced top tier competition quite yet. So that has something to do probably with why he's not a 5-star. But speed is speed and skill is skill, and a nose for the ball is a nose for the ball. And he's got it. He's got all those. He's got great instincts, especially in terms of jumping the passing lane. 3 pick sixes as a junior. So there's not a whole lot of tape of him being a physical tackler. The highlight tape favors his ball skills and cover skills a lot more. So that kind of gets me wondering about that. But if that gets improved, or if I'm worrying about nothing here, he will find himself playing on Saturdays in the swamp rather soon. And that's the haul. 11 commits in 18 days, and probably more coming soon. Keep an eye out for guys like Trenton Henderson, maybe even a Vodney Cleveland. He does seem to be trending Texas at the moment, but who knows? The way things go in this NIL era is anyone can swoop in at the last minute and drop a bag, and the kid becomes a Gator, or he goes to the school that dropped the bag. Florida does not seem to be the school that does that often, but you just never know. So Florida in a good spot for sure with Trenton Henderson and many, many others who still have to make their decisions. Florida's class only has 13 guys in it right now. Also, Florida's class is ranked number 13. Lucky number 13, right? Gators have jumped up from 83 to 13. With 13 commits, the Gators have room to double that, get 25, 26, 27 kids in it, depending on maybe some attrition or some portal movement or whatever. But you can more or less expect that number to double. And as more and more kids, more and more of the elite kids are putting off their decisions until later in the cycle, got to think Florida's going to be in a good position to land some of them if they can keep this momentum going. And that's all we have for today. Now that we've gotten caught up on all the commits in this class, at least as of now, we'll leave it here. We'll step back in a couple days and view things from a bird's eye view a little bit later. But for now, definitely a nice haul for Billy Napier and the Gators. The guys he's gotten to verbally commit, I think, all have some real value. Now we just got to keep the momentum going, both on the recruiting trail and on the field.